Hey traders, Jeffrey here from Strategic Day Traders. Good to be back with you after a wild ride this week. I'm sure that, like all of you, I am happy that all of the drama is over and things have settled down quite a bit this week. We had some big moves in both directions, a couple of winners, some flat trades, a couple of losers. So let's go ahead and get into it. As always, all the information provided here is for educational purposes only and not an offer or recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. So, for anyone who is new, this is a typical trade that I set up. I have a public Telegram channel and the private one where the members in my group get my trade ideas and possible trades that they can take following the strategy that I put out. This is an example of what the signals look like. I'll put a signal out, for example, on the Euro New Zealand dollar or the Euro Australian dollar, after I've analyzed the movement in the market over the last couple of sessions, see what the currency strengths are, and then get a bias going into the next day's markets. I will either have a long or a short bias. A tentative short or long entry. Typically, they're pullback entries to maximize the trades following the parabolic price action that I follow. As many of you know, I look for movements from the edge of the channel that I follow to the opposite edge and back down. So, for example, in this bias short trade, we were looking for an entry right over here at 177,477. So, this is the Euro New Zealand dollar, 1.77477. We got our pullback that was set to enter as soon as we hit over here. Got our entry and then followed this trade down. Actually, when I was back in front of the computer, we had not hit our target yet. And so I actually moved the target down to the opposite edge of the channel. As you can see, our initial target of 1.76972. I moved down to 176,508 and got a nice 97 pips on the trade. Okay, so members get more information and detailed trade analysis of how we follow this strategy in our weekly live sessions. Here is what the strategy and the trades look like on MetaTrader. I follow a very simple strategy. I use Heikin-Ashi candles. I use the Nadaraya-Watson envelopes to follow my parabolic moves. I use the linear regression moving average for entries and exits, using overbought and oversold conditions with a simple stochastic RSI. And I like to follow momentum with the Williams percent R. Here's another shot at it, also on MetaTrader. We enter when we're at an extreme or an outside bar, and we track that down to the opposite edge so that if I'm following a particular bias, I can project what my entry is going to be. I'll put my limit orders on there. Sometimes if I follow several candles moving in the direction of my bias immediately after I post my signals, typically 2 or 3 or certainly 4 candles all in the same direction, I might get in at market, or if there are heavy momentum candles, I'll get in at market. Otherwise, I'll set it and forget it and follow the trade several hours later when I'm back in front of my computer. I am always looking for extremes of overbought and oversold conditions when we are at extremes for the envelopes. That is a high probability. And my first target is always the opposite side of the envelope. Those are high probability targets. Here's what the signals look like on the U.S. East Coast time between 6 and 8 p.m. after I've analyzed the day's activity and what it looks like coming up, taking into account the news that is coming out and published globally. I'll put out my signals and then follow those signals with my trades in the group the following day. So, for example, just looking at this Australian dollar yen, I put out a signal or a trade idea to go long at 95,802. We got that long entry. My stop loss was 94,942. The initial target at 96,266. And in this case, we got our target. We had a runner on for a total of 83 pips altogether on the trade. And here is what we were looking at this week. Not only was there a fairly monumental shift in the feeling about the election results. The U.S. media was portraying Harris as having a great deal of momentum, and it turned on a dime, and not surprisingly, when there was a clear indication that Trump was not only winning, but winning strongly, the markets began to move. This is exactly what I remember from back in 2016 when he ran the first time, and he started closing the gap and winning the first few blue wall states. Futures in the early trading hours in Asia even started to skyrocket. So this was, trading on election day was a difficult and nail-biting time to trade. Futures only. I stayed away from Forex, as I mentioned in our Telegram post, because of the volatility and the clear direction that really wouldn't display until things were kind of settled in. So as you can see, we had the election way up here, and then on top of everything else, with the election, we also had U.S. monetary policy and interest rates, as well as overseas as well. So it was quite a monumental week with both news and unprecedented events. And as you can see, the Dow went absolutely through the roof, over 1,500 points right after election, and the S&P blew past 6,000. So that was really quite a day. Here's how we did. As I said, we had a pretty mixed bag. I was very careful to limit losses as much as possible, but we only had a few calls, no calls on election day at all. A few break-evens, as you can see on the charts. Some losses on the first day, a break-even flat, and a small loss on the second. A little bit of a mixed bag the day after elections, with total pips of over 300, so that was a good day. And then kind of a flat day on the last day. So we still came out ahead by a little under 300 pips, but I was not surprised that this week was going to be a little topsy-turvy. But here's what we've got coming up going forward. On Tuesday, nothing coming up on Monday. On Tuesday, Canada's got its CPI results coming out, so we will be careful with the Canadian dollar in the morning on Tuesday. In the overnight Eastern time, we've got UK CPI, and then as we wind the week down, U.S. employment claims by Friday. When we've got some manufacturing news, we will already be coming into the end of our week. So that's a recap of how we did this week. Good being back with you guys. If you have any questions about joining the group, feel free to send me an email. Check our website for additional information, and you can also look at the public Telegram channel that I'll post these on, and some trades going forward as well. And that is a wrap for now, and we will see you in the next one.